Now the presidential race is on, and there's so much talk about zoning, rotational presidency, and some people saying we should forget zoning. So when you look at the field, and some of the persons who have stepped forward to say they are interested in the various political parties, what do you think Nigeria is faced with? Do you think that there is anyone or two or three persons that we can look at, that we can hope would become the next Messiah for Nigeria, if there is any such thing as a Messiah for Nigeria?
You know, we have this predilection as a people. We ignore the problem in seeking to profile solutions. So we just pluck solutions out of the air, and this has accounted for all manner of people coming forward, bringing themselves as the solutions to the Nigerian problems. Our problems will never be saved by personnel changes. I have said this ad nauseum. No matter who becomes the president of Nigeria, if we do not deal with our systemic and structural problems, we will never come out of this mess. And I'm not too sure we have too long with which to continue with these experimentations. So let's first of all be clear. I am not enthused by the prospect of personnel change as a route to our redemption, if I may use that word. Now, you've now asked the question that obviously cannot be run away from, those who have volunteered themselves. I was asked this question about a month ago, and I remember saying clearly that one, I didn't consider Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu a candidate. I was very convinced, even back then, that there was sufficient impairments to render his candidacy a non-starter. But what do I know? I'm not a politician, and the politicians always happen to know what we do not know. So for some reason, the man is being dragged up and down the place, having himself. I don't want to get into the area. I don't want to get into the personal arena, but it's obvious that the man is incapable of the rigors. But that was all well and good. But I do say this clearly. He is not in any way, shape, or form capable of transforming the Nigerian situation. He's had 22 years in Lagos already. I live in Lagos. You live in Lagos. We're all in Lagos. If this is the best that a man can do in 22 years of unchallenged hegemony in the state that has the most capacity, I challenge any one of you to suggest that you've entered a government hospital in the last 10 years, both Tundun and Doc. Even your whole building there, take a poll, you'll find out that nobody's children is going to a public school, nobody's children goes to a government hospital. There is a complete failure of social services. I believe if you look at the school enrollment figures in Lagos State, you find very quickly that Lagos State has less than, for every 10 classroom space in Lagos State, less than 3 belong to the Lagos State government itself. So the public school system is non-existent. And this man has been there for 22 years. Jack Conde spent 4 years. We're still talking about him. Then you talk about road. So when the time comes, if he truly becomes a candidate, then we'll deal with the specifics of his record.
Dele, sorry to interrupt you. You kept saying Asiwaju Tinubu has been in Lagos for 22 years. The Constitution allowed him a tenure of 2 terms. That would be 8 years. Why do you say 22?
Doc, Yorubas have this proverb. They say, Alamoran bini Oyo. You are an Alamoran bini Oyo. Alamoran bini Oyo in the sense that the fact of Tinubu's hegemony in Lagos is not up for debate. It is not up for debate. I live in Lagos. We all live in Lagos. We should at least tell ourselves the basic truth. The reality is that his word is law in Lagos. Whether you are talking about the judiciary or you are talking about the legislative houses or you are talking about the street, he rules the street. We all know this. You might deny it, okay, maybe for balance and etiquette, but I am saying it and I have no apologies for saying it. His word is law in Lagos State, and even when he's not the one speaking, laws are made in his name. So let's be specific. As far as Lagos State is concerned, responsibility for its success or failure stays on Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's table. They will be pointing at the rail line as achievement. They will be asking at what cost. These are issues that will come up when we come to the campaign. So there is the issue of the record, there is the issue of the health, there is the issue of the mental capacity. We will deal with all of that at the appropriate time. Other people will want to point at Professor Oshibajo. I've said this, it's clear. He's a brilliant man, no doubt about his capacities intellectually, but that is not what this is about. Anybody who is not putting a plan on the table, explaining clearly where we are going, because we are actually in a mess, and anyone should see it, and I don't think any one of them is blind to the fact that we are in a mess. So if we are in a mess and you are asking to lead, I imagine that you will provide a roadmap to show us where you intend to take us to. Almost without equivocation, Nigerians are united in saying that there is something fundamentally wrong with our governance structures. We all know where we missed the way, but we continue to run away from the inevitable, which is to restructure the country to allow citizenship to emerge and then to allow the regions which will emerge from such a restructure to become engine rooms for the development of the Nigerian space. None of them is talking about these. All they are talking about is vote me into power. Vote you into power so that you run the next feeding trough. Now, that is when you deal with those coming out of the Southwest, which in my own honest opinion, I've been known to use pretty strong language in relation to that opinion, and I don't want to travel that route today so that I don't offend people. But there has been a cleavage in southern Nigeria that has lasted my entire generation, my entire lifetime. I was born in '68, in the middle of the Civil War. That issue has blighted the entirety of Nigerian history, and that is the dichotomy in the South. Why is it so difficult for my Yoruba brothers to understand that it is in our own enlightened selfish interest to support Ndigbo's claim to the presidency? But deal with that to one side. This is me conceding that even as a sense of equity, even for our own enlightened selfish interest, we should do that. But let's now deal with, if we are doing that, is it Rochas? Is it Oji Uzokalu? It's not about persons. But persons must have pedigree. They must have records of achievement, sterling integrity. These are not the kind of persons. Ndigbo has to bring forth his best. But bringing forth his best is not enough. That best must also understand we are not interested in exchanging the tribal occupant for another tribal occupant who focuses on one section without looking to restructure the whole. So as far as I'm concerned, this election cycle has not really started because nobody has engaged with ideas. They are engaging with persons, and those persons are not going to cut it. This has to be about ideas. Where are we going from here? You have to lead with vision. We've had enough visionless people ruling Nigeria. If we need leaders, they must put visions on the table, ideas by which they intend to rule.